draw? That is a question posed by Tatsuki Fujimoto in his short story, Look Back. It's a common question I think everyone has heard in some form. Hey, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? As an artist who has drawn since childhood, I believe I have an answer that suits me. Like Fujimoto, I use art as a creative outlet for myself to express my identity, my thoughts, my feelings, myself. And so I'm gonna quickly talk about Tatsuki Fujimoto, his life, and some of his works. Then I will talk a bit more about myself and how I communicate through my art. So you might be wondering, who is Tatsuki Fujimoto? And there's not much known about his personal life, but I was able to find some information through interviews, such as the 2021 he had with Shonen Jump, where he talked about how he grew up in Nikoho, Japan, where he lacked access to preparatory schools. So he studied in order to learn. He joined his grandparents in order to learn oil painting, and later he was able to graduate in college with a major in Western painting. Now you know a little bit more about him. Let's talk about some of his works. In 2021, he released a short story, Look Back, which he talked about, which explored a story about two girls who loved art and grew up meeting each other, the story explored two girls who grew up to love art, and they were reflections of himself as a person. The first woman was Fujino, who represented Fujimoto's love of art, represented his ego, where she did work for the admiration of others, and the other woman was Fujino, who was his love of art. First starting socially inept and rather insecure about their work, and though once they met each other, inspired through each other's work, they were able to work together and become great creators, though they later separated because they could not, because of their conflicting personalities, in which Fujino wanted to become more popular through their manga, and Fujino wanted to get better at her art through going to college. So, which reflects Fujimoto's feelings when he became more popular in his serialization. Now that I've talked a bit more about Fujimoto, I'll talk a bit more about myself. So when I started art when I was 5 years old, I was encouraged by my parents to draw. It was that encouragement that led me to have a raw, vibrant, messy style in my youth, which I still try to keep in mind now, even though that freshness can't be reproduced. Later in my teenage years, I became less genuine with my art. I was more doing it to make friends. In my mindset at the time was, if I make something people liked, maybe they'll like me back, which was a huge mistake on my part. But it was really shown through my work even then. Most of my art was just what people wanted and not my own thing. Later in life, currently, I feel like I'm more free with my work. I was able to make 3 comics during the summer, where I was able to just put my ideas on a page, and it was a great and wonderful feeling. But just to sum it up, Fujimoto is an artist who's able to seep himself through his work. You're able to, and while I don't do it directly myself, you're able to see how those stages in my life are reflected in my own art. So the reason why I do draw is because it allows me to just have this amazing outlet, and I hope everyone else can have or does find their own outlet as well.